Welcome and ndemnwalachu to today's Sabassembler. I just want to say one thing before we get started. Thank you to all my Sabassemblers and other fellow collectors for your support. Thanks for subscribing and hitting all those like buttons. And I just want to say, as you all know, we are trying to get the 1000 subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I would ask you and be very grateful if you do so. And also don't forget to hit those like buttons. So now we can get started, and as you all know, today we have the XM Studios Emma Frost quarter scale statue, which I believe is going to be another great piece for my XM Studios X-Men line. And let's just see what's inside the box. I can say this is not a heavy box, it's a relatively small box, but it still has a little bit of weight to it. So we have our knife here, and just open it and see what's inside. Wow. Put the knife aside. Inside we have this huge envelope, which I'm sure is going to have the art print. Whoa, this is a very dark art print of Emma Frost. If you want to see. I mean, I can see what they're trying to do, having her sit in some kind of library with a dark fire. But somehow, in my opinion, it doesn't go because she has this white costume, and somehow I don't believe it works out. I mean, the art print isn't bad, but I don't think it's XM's best one. So next we have the packaging advice or help, and at the back we have all those assembly QR codes, and we can just put these back in and put these aside. So as usual, I'll do the unboxing and get back to the assembly then. So here we have the box. It's, as usual, the nice hardcover XM boxes with, it says Marvel on the top, and on the sides you have these X-Men logos. And let's just open it. Whoa. And on the inside we have a short description of Emma Frost, just like all the other characters from XM Studios. And so I'll get out all the pieces first and get to you on the assembly.
Dun ያጫውታል ደምዬ ጎጃም ተወልጄ ጎጃም አድጌያለሁ ደምዬ ደግነት ደግነት ፍቅር ወርሻለሁ ያሳይሻለሁ ደምዬ 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 ዳሞት ጃቢተና አንጓጉሰው በርማ አጣፍቶ የሚያለብሰው ፍቅር እንደሸማ ሰው ስራ ወዳድ አፈሩ ለምለም እንዲል ብር ሸለቆ ወርቅና ማርያም ደሜ 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 ደሜ
Okay, welcome back guys. I've unboxed all the pieces and we have the bass right here in front of us and now ready to put this piece together. So first we have this relatively small round bass which has this kind of marble look, kind of more like an old historical kind of, how should I say, Roman or Greek style bass, and it's definitely got some weight to it, but it looks really nice, especially the marble actually looks like real marble and all the other stones, and it feels like that too. I mean, I doubt it is real, but still, I think first time where I can say that XM did a really great job with the stone and it looks really great. And okay, the first part would be this huge piece, this big armchair with Emma Frost just kind of kneeling on it. And I mean, this is a huge piece, but it has one small peg right at the bottom of one of its legs, and that one just fits into one of the holes here in the base, and just have to put it in carefully. And that goes in without any issues. That went in and we have it done. So here, well, this is already getting relatively tall. Okay, I hope you can see it. Okay, next would be her torso, which has been done pretty well, and that goes in with a huge magnet, which you just kind of stick in right this. That was easy, no issues there. And next, I believe, should be her cape. That's one. It's got pretty light, but it's solid. It's a solid sculpt, and it's done pretty well. And at the bottom, it's got this kind of cushioning, and that's, I believe, because it's going to go on the left arm of the armchair, and it's got this small kind of string that kind of connects the two parts of the cape and holds it in place, and it has one small key right on the under the right part of the cape, which goes into her left arm, and that should fit in like that, which it does without any issues. And the cape kind of, as you can see, rests on the chair, and so it doesn't fall out, and looks good. And I believe you have this small kind of X-Men symbol, which I believe is there to kind of hold this small string in place right in between her boobs, but well, that's where it goes in, and it also has a key, and you just have to kind of fix it, make it stay there, and push it a little bit down, and which it does, and it also stays there, and doesn't move, and I believe her boobs also will keep that symbol in place. Okay. Next would be, depending on which pose we're gonna choose. Or first we'll have the right arm, which just goes in at the bottom of her right arm, and which stays in there, and it's just you just see her hands resting on her right leg. So now we can choose which pose we want. Let's start with the younger look, and with the younger face, with the short-haired one. We have that portrait, and I think they did a great job with the portrait, especially the eyes. The eyes again look great, even the eyebrows. And you have this kind of frost white blue lipstick, which also looks great, and so the makeup also has this white tone around her eyes. It looks great. And I think the kind of stretched out left arm is the right one for this, which fits in here. And for that we have this small kind of crystallized rose, which is actually, I think it's made out of some kind of acrylic plastic or acrylic glass, but it's not glass, at least it's just some kind of plastic material or clear resin, and that one should just fit into her left arm or into her left hand, and it stays there. And last but not least we have the portrait, and here we have Emma Frost with the first pose, and wow, actually looks really nice. Hope you can see her. Look, give you a 360 of that. Wow, looks great. And I think, honestly, I was kind of debating with myself when I ordered the statue. Should I get her, should I not? Because I wasn't like too much of a fan of this character. But honestly now I'm kind of happy, because I mean, it's not a huge statue, it doesn't take up too much space, and I think also the armchair, I mean the leather armchair, I think the leather actually almost looks like real leather, but I think the XM did a great job with that, especially, and with the wooden frame around it, also looks really nice. And okay, I'll just take a few moments to analyze this statue and look around, and I'll get back to you then. Okay, welcome back guys. I've had a few moments to look at the statue and look at all the details, and all I can say for the beginning is I'm actually very happy they're unlike the Iceman on my last video. If you haven't watched that video, I'll leave a link to that, and you can look up my video on that and everything I've said about it, where I think the base was really bad. I think XM did a really bad job on the Iceman's base, but here we have the total opposite. On the Emma Frost base, XM, I believe, did a phenomenal job. As I said, you have, or before I talk about the base, as I said before, this statue comes with another optional pose, which is the one with the portrait with the longer hair. And let's put that one on first. And with that you get also another arm, and another left arm. Here kind of where she's kind of using her powers and looking at whoever she's kind of about to crystallize or freeze, whatever. But this pose also looks really great. You have this more kind of mature face look, unlike the other one. Here I believe with the short-haired one, He has more kind of a younger look, because you have, I think, maybe more of all this makeup and maybe also the hairstyle. But I think this one is more the classical look of Emma Frost. The other one is more kind of modern design. But this one also looks really good. What you could do actually is kind of pose it with, I mean, you could switch out the different poses. You can have this head with the other, with the other arm. I mean, this looks great too, I believe. And you could also pose it like this. Maybe it's not meant to be, but I think, in my opinion, it still looks great. You could have it this way and vice versa. You could have also you could have the other arm. Well, that was close. Since this is plastic, it didn't break, everything's fine. And let's just take off this head and put in the younger look first, and then, I mean, you could also have this arm on this one and on this portrait, and I think this also looks good. But I mean, this is, you have, I believe, 4 different options for this statue, and I think all of them look great and nobody will be disappointed with either of them. I think all of this is just a matter of taste. There is no pose where I could say like, yeah, this looks crappy and so, but all look great. Okay, now let's talk about the details of the base and start with the concept. I think XM again did a great job with getting the concept of Emma Frost. They definitely, I mean, when you see the statue, you immediately know that's Emma Frost and you don't have to think twice. And I'm not disappointed I got the statue after thinking about it various times. And let's start with the base. As I said before, unlike the Iceman statue, XM did a phenomenal job with the base on this statue, because in the middle, which is, unfortunately it's a bit hidden, you have this trident design inside a marble ground, which looks like a very classy look and very fancy, and with this ancient Greek design going around it in the different color and a darker gray stone, and all at the edges you have these kind of other smaller designs of plants or so, like all were sculpted into the base and all looks really nice. I think in this case XM did a great job in making this look very real. I think the marble part in the center looks like real marble. When you look at it, you might even think it, you would actually think that it's real. And the same thing with the other stone on the edge, just going around it. I think it's a shame that the marble piece in the middle is hidden, because you have the armchair on top of it. Inside you have the design of this trident, which is worked into maybe like the kind of Poseidon trident, and that looks great. And you have it inside around the H, around it we have that logo, and you have the same logo here on the back of the armchair. That same logo is worked into the base and it looks great. And talking about Emma Frost herself, about the sculpting, at first I don't think there are any issues with seam lines on the statue, not on the neck, on the head, or on the arms. If I really had to complain about any seam lines at all, maybe on her, where her torso connects to her legs, there might be some smaller seam lines, but you're probably never ever gonna see these unless you're actually looking closely. And paint job also is done very well. I said, when talking about the paint job of the statue, everything's great, and especially those, I mean, these face sculpts, I mean, the one with the short hair, I mean, the eyes on this statue, I mean, on this portrait look phenomenal. And all this blue and kind of red kind of makeup, especially the lipstick. There's no kind of spillover where they painted it. Everything is where it should be. And even like the inside of the eyes, you have this blue eyes and all the, I mean, the iris and all the singles, I mean, veins have been painted in, and it looks just great. Even the shape of the face. And when looking on the, I mean, with the one with the long hair one, you have the same thing. The eyes, you have more. Here you have the kind of red lipstick, and even that was painted phenomenally. Even I think even the shape of her mouth is a little bit different here, but. And I mean the whole face, like I mean the shape of the face is a little different. As I said before, you have here more kind of mature kind of woman look on the one with the long hair, and you have this kind of more slimmer face, thinner mouth, and here she looks more angry or about, I mean, just like ready to attack, or saying like I mean, you can come here if you want, but you might regret it. That's the kind of look she has on her face here. And if I just switch this one out, and the short hair one is, you have this kind of young kind of woman, and here she's more kind of, I mean, she looks more like someone who just does whatever she feels like in that moment. I mean, she doesn't follow any rules. She's like, it still looks great, just like the other ones. I think on both portraits they did a great job with the eyebrows. They're not just painted, they're also sculpted. That's great. And also her legs, I mean her trousers. You have different textures on the edges. You have like this really smooth design on the most of her trousers and her boots, and then some smaller parts with a kind of rough textured sculpt and design. And in the middle, around her belt, you have the X-Men logo, all done very well. And you have the same design on her gloves and her arms, and all these, same thing. And with her bra, and the same design there. On the back you have the more textured design, and in the front you have this smooth design. Great. And if we go further up, I think then we have the armchair. I think the armchair is like, I think the best part, or one of the best parts on this statue, because it has so much design and sculpt. I think XM on this statue, I think XM put in more effort, or put in more time in the base rather than her, honestly, because when you look at this armchair, there's so much design, like all the wooden frames and on the legs, on the back, and it all looks almost real. And there's so many different designs you would also find on a real ancient or older armchair. And the leather cushioning of the armchair on the inside, on the sides, all look great. There's so much detail, and it looks like real old armchair which has been used for many years and looks great. And these metal pins in the middle for the design, I mean, thumbs up on that for XM Studios. Looks really good. And maybe one thing that they didn't do so well might be her cape. I think what they're trying to do on the cape, on the edge you have like this kind of fur kind of part that goes around. I think from the shape, from the design, it's supposed to be some kind of fur. I don't know whether it's some kind of fox fur or whatever, but the color, I mean, it's got almost the same color as the rest of the cape, but it doesn't really look real. I mean, just from the sculpt you can tell it's supposed to be fur, but that could have been done better, I believe. They could have put in more effort, but most probably you're not even gonna see it. I mean, this fur thing goes all the way to the top and on the back and back here on the other side. I mean, that's maybe not a big thing, but that's just my opinion, and that's one part where it could have been done better. Even the cape, the inside of the cape where she's leaning on the armchair, and on the back are two different textures. On the inside you have a more rough texture, on the outside it's more smooth texture. And here on the outside you have this smooth texture, and wow, I mean, looks really nice. So let's talk. Talking about the size of this statue. As I said before, it's not a big statue. I think the tallest part of the statue is her head from the bottom all the way to the top. It's almost 50.5 centimeters, and the width would be, I think it's just the width of the base, and that's like 20, maybe almost 29 centimeters. And I think the widest possible pose or depth you can get on the statue is with the other arm, right, with the stretched out arm holding the rose. Here we have the depth of well, actually, yeah, it is a bit wider, but it's almost the same as where the base ends. And here we have approximately 39 centimeters. 37 or 38 centimeters, we have that there. And yeah, I mean, we have Emma Frost with various optional ways to pose it, and all of them I think look great. I'm still not sure which way I'm going to choose. I assume probably I'm going to be using the long hair option, maybe with the arm holding the rose. I think, in my opinion, that looks best. Maybe it wasn't supposed to be like that, but I think this looks best. I like this classic look more rather than the short-haired one. That's just my personal opinion. Others may have other opinions, but still, as I said before, you can't go wrong with any way. All of them look great. Okay, so I hope you liked today's unboxing. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it was helpful for you. Maybe people who were still debating to get the statue, I could motivate to get the statue and help you. So, as I said before, we're still trying to get the 1,000 subscribers, so if you haven't subscribed yet, please don't forget to do so. Hit that subscribe button and the like button. And God bless you, God bless our statues, and have a nice day.
ያቺ ገራገር በትዝታ ነግሳን ትታየ ጀመረ ቀና ይል ጨለማን አይመርጥልኝ ጊዜ ይዞ ይጭልጥ ይላል የናፍቆቷ ባዜ ደስ ያለኝ ተወልዳ ያደገች ቀሚሴ ያደገች ቀሚሴ ፍቅሯ የሚያድነው እንደ ዳማከሴ እንደ ዳማከሴ ወርቅና አሻግራ ልቤን አጓጉዛ ጓጉዛ አሪባት ለሞይ አንተ ፋጎስ ጉዛ አንተ ፋጎስ ጉዛ ያቺ ገራገር ሰው ያቺ ገራገር ባለች እንገናኝ እንዘያየር ባለች እንገናኝ እንዘያየር ዓለም ዘመናይ ዓለም ዘመናይ ዓለም ዘመናይ ዓለም ዘመናይ ዓለም ዘመናይ ያደች ባይኔ ላይ ድምፄን በማሲንቆ በክራሩ እስየ ድምፄን በማሲንቆ በክራሩ እስየ እስኪ ላዜምላት ልበላት ማርየ በባቲባ አምባሰል ደሞ በትዝታ በባቲባ አምባሰል ደሞ በትዝታ ባንቺ ወየ እልላት ባለችበት ቦታ በሀገሯ አዜማ በሀገሯ ቅኝት በሀገሯ አዜማ በሀገሯ ቅኝት ያላዜመ የለም ያልዘፈንላት ዓለም ዘመናይ ዓለም ዘመናይ ዓለም ዘመናይ ዓለም ዘመናይ ዓለም ዘመናይ ያለች ባይኔ ላይ ያቺ ገራገር ሰው ያቺ ገራገር በትዝታ ነግሳን ትታየ ጀመረ በትዝታ ነግሳን ትታየ ጀመረ ቀና ይል ጨለማን አይመርጥልኝ ጊዜ ይዞይ ጨልጥ ይላል የናፍቆቷ ባዜ ይዞይ ጨልጥ ይላል የናፍቆቷ ባዜ ቃላትን አፍርቃ ስትነጋገር ስትነጋገር ካንደበቷ ለዛ ይቆረጣል ማር ይቆረጣል ማር የንጉሥ ሚካኤል የራሳሊ ዘር የራሳሊ ዘር ምን እንከን አለበት ዱሮ ሲፈጠር ዱሮ ሲፈጠር ያቺ ገራገር ሰው ያቺ ገራገር ባለች እንገናኝ እንዘያየር ባለች እንገናኝ እንዘያየር ዓለም ዘመናይ ዓለም ዘመናይ ዓለም ዘመናይ ዓለም ዘመናይ ዓለም ዘመናይ ያለች ባይኔ ላይ ባንቻሮ በባቲ በየገበያው ባንቻሮ በባቲ በየገበያው ፍቅር ይሸመታል እንደማሽለው ከመርሰው